we welcome you to the Fence Comedy Debate.
Second speaker for the negative team, please let's welcome Jessie Taylor.
First dog, can I get rid of your computer now? Or is it taped on? I think it's taped on, it's okay.
I had to bring my own computer.
Thank you. I would like to thank First Dog for a great community service to our nation, which is in fact answering the question, what does Peter Dutton look like again? The answer is in fact a Brussels sprout. So thank you, First Dog, for that. Ladies and gents, a few weeks ago, I had a dream. I'm not joking, I had a dream that I had to fight Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I had somehow got myself into a situation where I was waiting backstage before some kind of no-holds-barred public cage fight with this guy. Fairly self-evidently, I wasn't looking forward to the experience. To begin with, sartorially, I was woefully underprepared. And in terms of physical condition, I was basically this guy. Now, I don't know if you've seen The Rock's movies, but this guy is all class. I mean, he is just muscles for days, sexy swagger, gleaming teeth. He's a class act. He's really a class act. He's strong, he's manly, he's protective. He wants to save us from the bad guys. He says things like, "Daddy's got to go to work." You get the feeling that he lies awake at night, dreaming up scary things that he can protect us from. In fact, he's starting to sound eerily similar to someone that we in this room all know. We know him very well, in fact. In fact, if given the choice, we might choose to know him ever so slightly less intimately. Now, stay with me here, okay? Prime Minister Abbott and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson actually have quite a lot in common. Sexy swagger, check. Miles of gleaming teeth, check. Glistening muscles for days, check, check, check. But the similarities don't end there. It starts to get really eerie when you realise how much they both really enjoy standing in front of flags. They both seem to use their eating habits as some kind of bizarre extraterrestrial assertion of masculinity and world domination. They both inspire fan art of true transcendent skill and beauty. They both appreciate a novelty hat. And they both really have a knack with men in uniform. Not to mention that, they both really, really love it when straight people get married. Am I right, Tony? In another disconcerting coincidence, The Rock also was not born in Australia, but at least he had the decency not to come on a boat. And in a joke that pretty much writes itself, you've probably heard that The Rock is about to star in a remake of Baywatch. Have you heard this? Yeah. Anyway, that just means that it's only a matter of time before this happens. Oh God, spare us. Now, all of this leads me to wonder, if Tony Abbott looks up to The Rock with such puppy-eyed devotion, what counsel would The Rock give to Tony Abbott on the difficult political issues of the day? Economic policy, climate change, health and education, border protection. It begs the question, what would The Rock do? Would The Rock, in fact, build a fence around the territorial sea boundary of Australia? Let's have a look at that for a moment. Now, let's have a look at Australia first. The perimeter of our beautiful country is 35,877 kilometres. So let's round it up a bit and call it 50,000 kilometres that this fence would need to be. Now, First Dog, you're not the only person who can go to Bunnings. I've had a look at the materials that we might need to build this creation, and I've opted for a Lysaced Evergreen double-sided Neatus Green Colorbond fence panel. Colorbond, because what's more Australian than that? This fence panel is 1.79 metres long and $29.89 a piece. So 50,000 kilometres equals 50 million metres, so we need 27,932,960 sheets of Colorbond, which, multiplied by the bargain price of $29.98 including GST, brings the cost of building this fence to $834,916,201.12. Sounds like a lot, but that amount can otherwise be described as not even a third of the annual border protection budget of our country. So perhaps it seems like a bargain. Maybe you're listening to me and you're thinking this fence is a bargain when it comes to keeping those pesky refugees away. However, just because we can afford it doesn't mean we should. Which brings us back to the eternal question, what would The Rock do? Now, when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came to see me in my dressing room before our scheduled fight, I actually had a feeling he felt a bit awkward about the whole thing. He felt a bit uncomfortable about my impending ass-kicking. He didn't want to do it. He actually wasn't looking forward to beating up on a young mother who was completely powerless in the face of the pain that he could inflict. Which is, of course, where the similarities to our current government end. The similarities continue to end there because you get the feeling that The Rock would never deliberately mistreat vulnerable people in order to score political points. The Rock, pictured here dressed as Bambi, would never try to save lives at sea by forcing people to stay where they are and be shot, blown up or decapitated in the comfort of their own homes. The Rock would not send vulnerable people to a godforsaken detention centre on an island where they are literally statistically more likely to be murdered than resettled as refugees. He wouldn't send goons in the dead of night into bedrooms in a Melbourne detention centre to drag babies off to a remote desert island prison. How are you enjoying the comedy, ladies and gents? He certainly wouldn't make it illegal to report sexual assaults against children. The Rock would not design and preside over a regime of deliberate human suffering so perfect and so brutal that women consumed bite are opting to terminate pregnancies rather than bring children into the hell that we inflict upon them. So no, The Rock would not spend $1 billion, let alone 3.3 times that much, locking vulnerable people out of a safe haven. So Tony, if you really want to emulate your big, handsome hero, get your ass into gear and start treating refugees humanely. We all know you want to be The Rock, sweetheart, but at the moment, the closest you come is having a heart of stone. Thank you very much.